Hello everybody, Vinylnaut Richard with the Punk Vinyl Tag 2024. Tommy's Vinylnaut did this. I saw Blockheads and I saw Middl LifeCrisisRants, and those are the only ones I've seen. I thought I would jump on, but I don't think I'll do any more tags after this. I'm kind of tagged out. But I thought I would do this one. When I first started making VC videos, there weren't a lot of people showing punk. There were some that would show punk here and there. And I'm not totally exclusive punk either. But, I'm not saying I invented the punk section of the VC. I'm not like Malcolm McLaren claiming I invented punk rock or anything like that, you know. There were people that were doing it. But I'm going to do these 20 questions. First one, the loudest, dirtiest, and angriest record you bought. Now, I didn't really buy a lot like that. But I guess this would fit the bill. Mutant Strain, Murder of Crows. I got this in December. I haven't talked about it in a Vinyl Finds yet, but I did show it in the year-end roundup video. But I figured since I showed that one, I figured I'd show their first album, Mutant Strain. Okay. Your best reissue or compilation from 2023? Now, I showed a few reissues in my year roundup, but I didn't show this one. And it's Legal Weapon, Death of Innocence. Really good band, really good guitar tones on this. It's got Steve Soto and Frank Agnew from the Adolescents. Really good album. And Cat Arthur, fantastic vocals. And the most anticipated reissue for me was SSD Control. Society System Decontrol is the full name. Band out of Boston. On my year-end roundup, I said Washington, D.C. The kids will have their say. And I also said that I missed the first press, but I got the second issue. I got the second press on gray vinyl. Comeback album. Man, my throat's already getting jacked. I got this beer from, I don't know where it's from. It says malt German Pilsner under the ingredients. I don't know. Comeback. I'm not really big into comeback albums, you know. But for that, I'm going to show one that I showed already. And it's Ryan Kidd. My name is Ryan Kidd. He did a couple of records with the Disconnects. He quit I guess he left the music scene, had to get a job, you know. He's not like one of these street punks that's a bum, you know. He's a responsible guy, got a job working. But he still loves music, and he came out with this with help from Dr. October. And I hope there's more to come. And if I can contribute anything, I'm happy to do so, you know. A record that came out in 1984. I'm going to show a couple. We got this Peace compilation. On the back it says War, but it's an International Peace Benefit compilation. And it's bands from all over the world. Really good. Negative FX with this iconic cover. Also came out 84. We got one from Finland. Chaos, and I don't know the name of I don't know how to pronounce the name of the album. Yeah, this is a pretty new, it's a reissue. It's pretty new for me. I think I picked that up last year. Got a band from Oxnard, California. The Nardcore scene is what they called it. That's the very northern tip of LA County. And it's What Happens Next, a Mystic Records release. 7 Seconds, The Crew. Now, Kevin Seconds, these are really fast, really. They're not brutal, but they're real fast. And Kevin Seconds had a vocal style in this that kind of influenced some hardcore bands, later on. And then my final one from '84 is Black Flag, Slip It In. Chris Prophy wouldn't forgive me if I didn't show a Black Flag. Although he probably doesn't even watch my videos, Okay, the next one was show a D-beat, a crust, or sludgy rock and roll, or I don't know, punk and roll. For D-beat, I'm showing Discharge. This actually is not a D-beat record. This is early demos, March and June from 1977. And this is really good. It sounds like a Sex Pistols type of thing. So people that really hardcore Discharge fans don't care for this. But people that don't like Discharge may like this. But I like them both. And this is their album. Hear Nothing, See Nothing, Say Nothing by Discharge. And the reason I'm not real big on, I just lump them. I just call it all punk. And okay, hardcore. That's as deep as I go as far as genres. But I guess these guys, the name DB came from this band, Discharge, because of the way the drummer plays drums. And there, guess there he is right there, man. D beating away. And for crust, I'm going to show Disorder, this 8 songs EP. I guess these guys were playing crust, a few years before crust was even a thing, Okay, show a live album. I got a few. We got the Roxy album, is it? The Roxy London, January to April '77. I listened to this about a month or two ago, and it's really good. Got some really good bands. And I listened to this one just last week, entered it into my Discogs, and this is fantastic, dude. This is one of the best punk rock live albums around. The Decline of Western Civilization. You got this one here from DOA, Triumph of the Ignoroids. It's like a 4-song EP, but it recorded live in 1978. Really good. You got the Misfits, Evil Live. Fantastic. Well, this isn't fantastic. It sounds pretty good, Their live stuff wasn't that great. And I was at this gig. That's why I'm showing this one. Al's Bar, 1982. And it didn't sound that good. They were too loud for how small Al's Bar was. I did see them again in '83 at the Santa Monica Civic, opening for Black Flag, and it was much better. And you got the Ramones, It's Alive. One of the first probably great punk rock live albums, And this actually captures what it was about the Ramones that was so unique. More than their 4 studio albums. You got the Descendants, Live-Age. 1987, this is, yeah. A really good live one is Circle Jerks Gig. This had always only been a CD only release. They released this on vinyl, and yeah, it's really good, dude. And we got Poison Idea, the best Blue Note record reissue. It's The Beast Goes East, live from '84, I believe. Oh no, 1990. My bad. And finally, we got Public Image, recorded in France. It's a combination of songs from their first 2 albums. And back in the day, I probably played this more than I did their first 2 studio albums. Fantastic versions. All right. A record with a Costco card cutting coke. And that's got to be the Dwarfs. I don't know what that was. You got this guy here, man. I'm wondering who the hell's knocking at the door. And she's cutting the coke with her Costco card. Now this next one is show a record with a leather jacket, a skull, or a mohawk. Now this one here, this one, Dwarfs, could fit the bill with the skull. You look real close, there's a skull there. But I'm going to go with the Ramones, Leave Home. All 4 of the guys have leather jackets on. You know, they had that look. Very cool. And one more. Leather jackets with mohawks. Punk and disorderly. Okay. Now it's show a DIY cassette tape. I'm going to show a few. You got this one here, Freeze Dried Death. It's Bakersfield Hardcore. And it's just a tape that they taped and they wrote right there, you know, what it is. Got a Pushed Aside 5-song demo, Orange County, Straight Edge. And again, you know, they just taped it and wrote on there what it is. And one more Orange County Straight Edge one. It's Against the Wall. And this one here, it's upside down kind of. And the back, you can't really see what too good the writing there. Okay, a punk rock book. And I'm going to show 4 or 5. Terrorvet Cadet, I don't know. Finnish hardcore band that I got turned on to from Tommy's Vinylnaut, the guy that's doing this thread. And it's mainly a picture book, some words, really cool stuff. You got The Day the Country Died, A History of Anarcho-Punk, 1980 to 1984. And this has got a lot of words, some pictures. Lots of words, and I have not read this. American Hardcore, A Tribal History by Stephen Blush. This is pretty good. It covers hardcore up till like a certain point only, like 87 or so, and then it kind of stops. But yeah, a lot of cool illustrations. Easy read. They made a movie out of it that was pretty good. And I'm going to show 2 more. This is like a autobiography. My Damage, Keith Morris. I guess he got a little help with Jim Ruland. Very good read. By the end, I don't know, it's not as engaging, but yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, this guy is a good bullshitter. He tells good stories. So yeah, it's good. But my favorite of the bunch, and probably by the least known of the bunch, and it's Wrecking Crew, John Albert. He was a drummer. I think he's the original drummer for Christian Death. I don't know if he played with the Adolescents or not. But it's about him, and then one day he's, you know, sitting at the pad. He asked, I can't remember who it was, hey, you want to go out back and, you know, play catch? The other guy thought, that's kind of weird, but yeah, he had a couple of mitts, they had a ball, they were throwing catch, grounders, and it developed in this Misfits baseball team. And they were playing in LA. They ended up winning the trophy for, they used to play in the fields that are right, I think, on the other side of the 5 freeway from Griffith Park. But yeah, it's a very engaging story. And one of the guys on the team, I don't know, they went over to his house once, and he was dressed up. He had women's clothing on, and it kind of caught him by surprise. And they didn't care, you know. And really cool story. This is a really good read. Highly recommended. Okay, the next one. Show merch you bought at a gig. Well, when I was going to punk rock gigs, they weren't selling merch. In fact, I remember I had a conversation with Keith Morris once in the 90s. Can't remember. It was at a gig. He was there, and I was talking to him. And he said that they were making more money in the 90s selling shirts and stuff than they ever did, you know, in their heyday. But I think it was late. It might have been 89 or so. I did buy this Haunted Garage Mother's Day cassette. You can't really read that. Fantastic. It's a tape they made themselves, obviously. But yeah, fantastic. This was, I think the Hags opened up. Haunted Garage. L7 before they had any records released. And the headliner was 45 Grave. And I must say that was probably the worst time I ever saw 45 Grave. It was later in the 80s. They didn't have the intensity that they did early on. And her vocals seemed to be more screechy. But yeah, I wasn't going to gigs that much in the late 80s. Okay. A song people can relate to. Well, there's a bunch of them. And I've talked about this record before. I related to, this is my #2 punk rock album of all time, and I related to a lot of the songs. Look Back and Laugh. It was one that hit me very personally. But I'm going to do the first song on side 2, Sob Story. And I'm going to read it to you. Life has not been good for you. It's just not fair. You did nothing to deserve it. You did nothing at all. Sit back and watch. It turns from bad to worse. No matter how loud you cry, it always hurts. Boy, I'm glad I'm not in your shoes. How could things get any worse for you? You're so fucking alone. How could things get any worse for you? I don't blame you when you piss and moan. Everybody gets what you should have got. Everybody takes your opportunities. Everybody gets the breaks that belong to you. Everybody takes your just desserts. Life has not been good for you. It has not been fair. I've got some news for you. Nothing is fair. I wish there was a way to make it all better. I pray for a way to make you happy. 'Cause I'm sick and tired of your whining, complaining, bitching, etc. I think most people can relate to that, you know? Okay. An album that has the punk attitude, but it's a different genre. And I'm going to go with this R.L. Burnside, Ass Pocket of Whiskey. Man, this is raw blues. I remember Tales from the Crate, who did the vinyl tag 3 years, the 3 years prior to Rob. And he didn't like this. He liked the more traditional blues stuff from R.L. But I love this, man. It's very raw, very distorted. In fact, there's some parts where you can tell the needle is definitely in the red, man, with all the distortion and stuff. But yeah, it's a great album. It's definitely got punk rock attitude. All right. A punk rock record that you have the most versions of. Well, this is pretty easy because I don't have a lot of duplicates. One band I do have duplicates of is Red Cross for some reason. But I got this 10-inch Cro-Mags Age of Quarrel. And this is the first version I ever had of Age of Quarrel. The original came out and it sold out before they're a New York band. And it sold, came and went before I really even knew about them. I wasn't in tune with the New York scene back then. And I thought this was the album, and I thought, yeah, it's okay. But it turns out these are demos. I finally tracked down an original first press, Age of Quarrel. Fantastic. Really good, mid-80s, probably 86. Yeah, 86. Kind of showing the direction that punk was going to go, you know, especially the New York. And they went a little too metal for me. I ended up getting another copy. This is a record store day version. In the back. The back has a blow up of the picture on the back. The front cover isn't quite as clear, but this isn't really a real clear picture anyways. And then lastly I have this other, it's the Cro-Mags, Harley Cro-Mags Flanagan. These are the original Cro-Mags demos from 82, 83, so very early demos with Harley Flanagan on vocals. Now, I haven't done, I should, when I'm done with this, go listen to all those. I've never done any comparisons or any of that crap. Maybe I'll do a comparison video. I'll do a Cro-Mags comparison video, you know, and I'll tell you which one is the most audiophile. Okay. Show a record that has a president or a world leader. Of course, man, all the bands, or a lot of the bands, they had to have Reagan on the cover. This is actually a compilation, a fantastic compilation on alternative tentacles. Side 1 is more of the punkier side. Side 2 is more of the art punk side. But yeah, really good comp. LA's Wasted Youth, Reagan's In. Great photo, man. Ed Clover photo there. And Big Bop Boom, he made a comment once. He was talking on I don't know if it was probably a live stream. It could have been a video. He was saying, man, we would see these albums from the West Coast and just how wild the crowds were and how big they were. And he was going, man. And yeah. And I don't want to leave England out. We got Margaret Thatcher on this Exploited album, Death Before Dishonor. Really good album. Actually, I haven't heard a bad... I mean, the Exploited aren't the most original band in punk, but I must say I haven't heard a bad studio album by the guys. Okay. Show that you're not an old fart, and show a record where the band is half your age, you know? You know, a lot of people that, you know, they show their punk records and it's all from the late 70s, early 80s, and, you know. But this is a band, the Side Eyes, So Sick, and I would say they're probably a third my age. You got Astrid McDonald on vocals. She is the daughter of Jeff McDonald from Red Cross, and Kathy, what's her name? From Go-Go's. Charlotte Kathy from the Go-Go's. It's their daughter. And yeah, I would say that they're probably a third my age. And I'm going to show one that's probably more older than a third, but definitely half my age, and it's Restraining Order. This World Is Too Much. And I thought I would show this one, man, because this got an iconic cover. This guy jumping in the air. Great album. And as I always said about this band, they could raise a ruckus. Okay. Show an album with a rough dump on the cover. And I had to show this one, man. Sorex. Band from Redondo Beach, I think. Yeah. And this guy looks like he's sitting on the toilet taking a rough dump, man. I mean, God, dang. Show a record with a sexy vampire on the cover. And it's got to be Flower Leopards. This is the album with Tony Adolescent. From Tony from the Adolescents. Singing leads. Fantastic album. Sexy vampire gonna get this old dude, and here's the back. Really cool cover, man. Reminiscent of that. Those creepy comics or magazines, you know. Favorite inspiring lyrics. Well, this is a pretty recent one. And it's Alien Nose Job. This was in my top 10 albums from 2022. And he's got a song in here, Rock and Roll Rubbish. Rock and Roll Rubbish bin. Rock and roll was born in 1956. Nobody plays it right. It gives me the shits. 50 million players learning from the same song. Nobody got the news. Shalkowski wasn't wrong. They play without the swing. They play without the soul. They concentrate on rock, but forget about the roll. They package originality to put up on the shelf. But we all know what they're selling, an imitation of itself. Fantastic. And they have another one on here. Beatles versus Stones. I'm going to read that one too. Okay, it's not going to take that much longer. Lennon and McCartney traded suits for the bazaar. They became kooky and arty, swapped their guitars for sitars. They got their lucky break, then they broke it up in four. They found their lead singer lying on the men's room floor. Richards and Jagger, the leaders of the Stones, or so it seemed, after they drowned old poor Brian Jones. Bill was on the prowl with Charlie's listening to jazz, while Charlie's listening to jazz. After stealing for 60 years, they could be in Alcatraz. 8 years of a flash versus 60 years of cash. While other bands just as good wound up in the trash, charging like a wounded bull for concerts you can't see, playing the songs they and you were sick of since 1973. And the final question is, show an album where the cover kind of sums up the current state of the VC. And I would say it's not just the current state, it's always been. And I'm going to show this Rodney on the Rock Volume 3. And you got these three gals from high school. And I've said it before, the vinyl community is kind of like high school. It's got its different cliques. There's not really just one BC. There's a bunch of different ones. It seems like the audiophile kind of are like the socias of the high school, the snobs, right now at least. But yeah, I think this high school sums up where the VC is, and I'm happy with that. It's fine. Take care, everybody. And I'm not going to say, this will be the last time I say Happy New Year.